Good day, class, and welcome back to Digital Media Convergence. Today we are starting with Lesson 27, where we'll be focusing on your summative assessment, so your final assignment for the semester and for the year for the subject. So that must be quite exciting. Okay, so this is quite a short lesson, but I do go over the brief. Obviously, in class we go over the brief in much more detail, and then you're given an opportunity to ask us questions. But as per usual, if you have any questions, do contact your lecturers so that we can assist you guys. Okay, so as per usual, we usually do a recap of last week. So looking at last week, we discussed the concept of media in entrepreneurship. We understood the concept of media entrepreneurship and are now able to identify examples of media entrepreneurs in the media industry. And then we identified and critically evaluated entrepreneurial opportunities created by digital media convergence. So obviously, a question for the class. I'd like for you guys to point out any key factors from the previous lesson that you can recall or that you believe are important to note. Alright, so let's start off with the lesson 27 objectives. So we are going to understand what is expected of students, of them in their summative assessment. So of you, the students, so that you know what we're expecting from you, and then identify areas that they must improve on in order to submit a professional assessment. Okay, this is very important. Obviously, with the workshops, we have assisted you guys, but as per usual, please contact your lecturers if you have any problems or if you need any assistance. So this is kind of like your last chance to ask all your questions. So don't be shy and ask away. Obviously, on the recording, different story, but when we're conducting the class, or if you're busy watching this and you do have questions, please contact us. So specifications for your assessment. Create original content on the given topic on the growing importance of digital literacy skills in the age of digital media convergence. The second one is adapt the content for distribution across various digital platforms. All right. Obviously, as we work through the questions, you'll see why we're saying various digital platforms. And you'll have to critically evaluate various free digital technologies before choosing them for the distribution of your content. Alright guys, so just a little nitty gritty. No less than 10 academic sources, meaning we need at least 10 references, okay? And when we say academic, I'm not really looking for .coms. I do advise students kind of stay away from .coms. Rather look at .orgs or anything like that. Anything that has somewhat of a registration, you know who the author is, and you can see the credentials of that author. I have sent you guys the ABCs of credibility. So please do take a look at that. All right. And then please use all the prescribed reading and materials. We have given you guys 2 resources that you will need to read through and interact with. So please ensure that you use those. And then obviously the lecture slides and any content that we have covered throughout the semester. All right. So the topic of your assignment. Using your critical understanding of the digital media convergence, create original content media users can use to develop personal and professional digital literacy skills. You have to provide practical and insightful guidance on digital media convergence technologies and responsible content creation, distribution, and consumption in a digital world. We have recently covered all of this, so I do hope that you can all recall this. Right, looking at your distribution specifically, each question has a different criterion for how it needs to be distributed. So again, we will go over that as we go through the questions. So just a little tip on my side. The tip is to complete question 2 last because this will work in your favor. The reason being is because by then you will have completed your website, your YouTube channel, and your podcast. So you will have 3 different sources, not only to link onto your social media profile, but also to use as content. All right, so you could maybe film the introduction of your podcast with the person that you're interviewing, and you can then create a reel and post that as a post on your social media, that kind of thing. All right, so I would advise that is more or less the approach you take. If you'd like to take another approach, 100%. This is just kind of so that you can kind of take advantage of the work that you've already done. Okay, but go about it however you see fit. That is just a small little tip. All right, but looking at question 1. So question 1 is your website, and this is worth 35 marks. You are all aware that you've already either attended the workshop for Wix with your lecturer, so you have the basics, and also obviously Wix is quite interactive and informative, and there's lots of tutorials available. Okay, so that is the website that we've suggested that you can use for your creation of the website, but you're more than welcome to use any software website that you see fit or that you are comfortable with. All right. So you'll create a website on which you publish your practical and insightful guidelines on digital literacy skills. So of course, we need an introduction and why this kind of why digital literacy skills is important. That will be included in your introduction. Practical and insightful guidelines when using digital media convergence technologies for digital content creation, distribution, and consumption. I also want you guys to look at things like ensuring that you're using correct platforms maybe, or anything like that. That's quite important. And then also responsibility that comes with being a content consumer or creator or sharing content. All right, we did have a lesson where we spoke about fake news. That's obviously the slang term for it, but we are all very much familiar with that. And I would like for you guys to maybe include that and look at why it is important that we first critically analyze and evaluate what it is that we're looking at before we click share or anything like that. All right. And then referencing needs to be used on the website. You guys need to do Harvard referencing for us, please. The reason being that your referencing is important is because you are getting this information from other sources, okay? So please make sure that you are giving those sources the recognition that they need. All right. Just a tip, guys, please, our slides do not count as a reference. You're more than welcome to go to our slides, look at what we've discussed, and then click on the reference links that we've provided at the end of all our slides with the original articles and things like that we've discussed. More than welcome to go and use those. I think that will be quite beneficial, obviously, because we've already used them in class. You'll be familiar with it, and then you also know that it's accurate for us. All right. But please do not use lecturer's slides, lesson 27, as a reference. All right, that's very important. And then please avoid using too many quotes. All right, the reason being is because if you give us too many quotes, it doesn't show that you actually understand the work or that you're able to discuss it or explain it. It simply shows that you know where to get information that is about it. All right, for websites, generally 1 to 2, max 3 quotes, I would say, for my personal preference. Maybe on each topic, you know, if each topic is 3 paragraphs, 1 quote for each topic, maybe something like that. But do try and keep it to a minimum. Rather read the work, interpret it, rewrite it in your own style, the way that you would prefer to communicate it, and reference it. It is the best way to go about it and to avoid plagiarism. So please be sure to do that. Obviously, if you do land up quoting, please ensure that you are referencing correctly. That's also of a vital importance. Okay. Then I said we've recommended Wix. And then for those of you who haven't been informed yet, for your website, please include screenshots of your website, not just the introduction, but any work that you've done, any different section that you've created. Please ensure that you include screenshots on your assignment for this. The reason being is just in case the link doesn't work or anything like that, and also for us to store your assignments in a safe place, just in case something happens to your website over the years. All right. Question 2. This is the question that I suggested that you complete last. It is your social media question, and here we can see that it is worth 10 marks. All right. So create a social media account on a platform of your choice using a suitable account name similar to your website name. Alright, so if you do end up doing this last, remember guys, all your names for your questions got to be similar, got to relate to one another. You need to see the essence of your brand across all of your platforms. Alright, so on the social media platform, create a post to promote the content of your website and direct readers to your website. Okay, so again, here, if you are doing this last, you can again record maybe the introduction of your podcast, and then you can link the website on it. You can link the podcast to it. You can then bring all your social media platforms, distribution platforms to one area, that kind of thing. Also, please take advantage of the fact that majority of social media platforms, so for example, Instagram, my students have expressed that they will be using Instagram because it is so user-friendly. You do have the bio area. Please take advantage of that. Link your website, link your podcast, that kind of thing. In one of the lessons, we also did discuss the issue of overlinking, where people give you 20 different links. You click on one and then you have to download an app or anything like that. Please be sure to use the website that we have recommended, where it basically consolidates all your links. Someone can click on it and then go, okay, well, I have this platform on my phone and my laptop, and they can click on it and they can choose how to view your content. All right, great help. Also declutters your bio, for example, on Instagram, and then allows you to rather put more of a personal touch, more written feel to it. All right, please ensure that your social media posts include an embedded link to direct readers to your website, as already discussed, and then provide a URL link to your social media post in your assessment submission. Please ensure that this link works, that your page isn't on private, that I'm able to get access to it at least until the end of the assessment period, once you've received your grades and things like that, and you won't need to be dealing with that anymore. Same with your website, things like that. Please ensure that we're able to access that. With the social media, please ensure that it's up and accessible until the end. Okay, I don't want you to think that we've completed our grading and then you put your page on private and weren't able to see it, and then we sit in a bit of a predicament. Okay. Also, please provide us with screenshots of your social media post. Make sure that the name, bio, etc. of the account is visible in the screenshots. So basically, you're going to screenshot the homepage of your social media, and then you're going to screenshot the post itself. Okay, so a minimum of 2 screenshots here. Again, it's so that we can keep track of everything and store your assignment safely. Moving on to question 3, YouTube. This is worth 20 marks. So based on the original content of your website, create a 3-minute YouTube tutorial highlighting the top 5 digital literacy skills needed by professionals. Alright guys, so here this is quite interesting. Please note how we have not specified any too much criteria, but we have spoken about how we would like for the video or the imaging to be of eye level, etc. So you are presenting it, you are in the video. Alright, so please keep that in mind when you're presenting. Make sure you're against a blank background. You've reduced as much noise as possible. We did go over these tips and tricks last week, but please make sure you do so. And if you guys have any difficulty recording, please contact your lecturers. I myself, I use Microsoft PowerPoint to record. There's a record option at the top. I can click on it. I can switch my camera on and I can present just as I am now. Alright, so please be sure to do so. I would switch my camera on now, but obviously I am busy recording for you guys. So usually you can then just switch your camera on. It'll show you down here at the bottom right. To my understanding, you are able to move it to different areas, and then we can just kind of see you. You're not really taking over the whole page. You are just part of the presentation. Okay, so please make sure you do so. We did also discuss camera angles, lighting, etc. All right. So the same account name as in question 2. Okay, so again, they are linked. So please try and make sure that you can obtain names that are very similar to one another. Obviously, maybe here and there, you can't really obtain the exact name that you want, because maybe there is a site that already exists with that name, or a YouTube channel or anything like that. So what you'll need to do is please just ensure that they are as similar as possible, that when I look at them, I can kind of be like, okay, you know, I can see the essence of your brand across them. Okay, that's very important. So please take note of the 3-minute time limits. Okay, so we've given you guys 3 minutes, which means that it's your minimum and your maximum. The thing being, if you go over 3 minutes, whatever you've discussed after 3 minutes, we cannot grade. All right, so we stop grading at 3 minutes. So please make sure that you've discussed all your 5 digital literacy skills within those 3 minutes. Okay, very important, guys. And then obviously, because you are again sourcing information from elsewhere, please ensure to include a reference list at the end of your presentation. If you're quoting anything like that, please ensure that you reference correctly, again using Harvard referencing. Okay, so basic principles of YouTube video production apply. Again, last week we just did discuss all of this. And they must use a presenter format. Additional footage can be used. Okay, again, presenter format. Your computer needs to be eye level. We'd like to see you, please. Make sure that your background is clear, maybe just a wall or anything like that. You don't really want it to be too busy drawing attention. You don't want people walking around in the background. Okay. So please ensure that your link that you submit with your assignment is working. Very, very important. So on YouTube, there are different options. So they can be the private option where only you can view it, the creator. Then there's the option where anyone with the link can view it. And then there's the one that is open to the public. Please, please, please make sure that if you choose to go with the option where anyone with the link can view it, that you ensure that that is the one that you've chosen and that someone who is not on your computer is able to access it. Send it to a friend, send it to a family member. Please just make sure that they are able to access it. Unfortunately, this is something that we have noticed in past assignments where students are trying to do, kind of like the link only viewing, but sometimes they choose the wrong one and we're unable to access their stuff. All right, so please, please, please make sure that you do so, because over here it says you will not receive marks for this question. If I'm unable to view your YouTube channel, I'm unable to grade you guys, okay? And that is quite a big chunk of your final assessment. Okay, moving on to question 4. This is 30 marks and it is focusing on podcasts. So based on the original content of your website, create your own podcast in which you interview a digital user on the importance of digital literacy and digital literacy skills used daily. So we have recommended Anchor for you to create your podcast. Again, you're welcome to use any platform that you see fit or that you're comfortable with. And then it is recommended that you can use Audacity to edit your audio. Again, if you have other softwares that you're comfortable with or that you'd like to try out, please do so. These do tend to just be quite easy going. All right. And then please use the same account name as in question 2 and 3 to create the Anchor account. Again, it's to create that essence of one another. And again, we do understand if you cannot get that exact name, please have it be as similar as possible. Okay. And then obviously, again, about 2 weeks ago, we went over the basic structure of podcasts. We actually created a podcast within an hour kind of thing. All right, so again, you're welcome to refer back to those lessons and go and look at things that we've referenced, go read the original articles, work your way through that. Could be extremely helpful. All right, so we need to have an introduction. The introduction can be scripted with you speaking and some music, anything like that. Some background/theme music. All right, so understand sometimes it could be frustrating if that is drawn out throughout the entire podcast. So what's nice is that if it's used for transition period from your intro into your discussion, maybe your discussion then changes topics very rapidly, you can then use music in between to just draw them from one topic to the next. And then again for your outro, whilst you're speaking, you can have the music start going and then you do your outro. Just like how you would on radio, you'll usually hear a certain tone will come on and then they'll start speaking and you're, oh, welcome to the show. Or a certain tone will come on and they'll, already know it's the outro that is starting. Okay, so please keep that kind of things in mind. An insightful interview discussion on content related to your website content and a creative conclusion. Your podcast must be at least 5 minutes and no more than 10 minutes. Okay, guys, so again, same thing applies. At 10 minutes, we stop grading. So please, please, please make sure that it is under 10 minutes. So again, please ensure that your link is working, send it to a friend, send it to a family member, anything like that. So a nice little tip again, ensure that your guest is able to respond and elaborate on the questions that you plan to ask them. This is part of the podcast planning and it is actually expected. So the reason that we say that is because, again, we have actually discussed this with you in previous classes where we spoke about kind of like the pre-podcast interview discussion where, you just kind of tell them what it is you're talking about. Maybe you have a list of questions and they want to see them, anything like that, okay? Because you will be discussing content that is on your website that you've created, what I would say is please have your guest maybe read over the content, read over your website, so that whatever it is that you ask them, they're able to build on it and they have some understanding, all right? It's not ideal if you have someone that you're interviewing, you ask them a question and all they can really say is, oh, I don't know, and then it forces the host to kind of take over the conversation because your guest isn't really interacting as much as they should be, all right? So please keep that kind of thing in mind. All right, and then finally we have technical marks. This is worth 5 marks. So the following overall technical aspects are assessed. A, minimum 10 sources. Okay, remember we did discuss it earlier. Sources are credible and academic. So again, as I said, please ensure you avoid .coms. If you want to include .com, then I wouldn't view it as forming part of your 10 minimum sources, all right? Then you would need your 10 academic sources and then an 11th .com, all right? And please make sure that you can see the author, the site, or the author has credibility through credentials or anything like that, okay? Very important. In text, accurate and correct, according to Harvard referencing method. Again, guys, as I said, throughout your assignment, throughout your website, throughout your presentation, your YouTube video, please ensure that you are referencing information, you are giving credit where credit is due on that information. A list of references should be done in Harvard referencing, again, at the end of your assignment when you submit, and then also again on your presentation itself, please, the one that you'll be posting on YouTube. I need a reference list on that too. All right, and then B, professional presentation of assessment, including spelling, grammar, and formatting. Followed evidence requirement as per the brief. All right, guys, please make sure when you're doing your assignment, you go through your brief and you tick off everything that it is that you have done to ensure that you're not missing anything. All right, guys, and that brings us to the end of this lesson. It was a little bit longer, but I did want to give you as much information as possible, and then just a few tips and tricks thrown in there. All right, so for your next lesson teaser, we will be looking to understand the concept of your personal digital footprint, understand and critically discuss the implications of having a digital footprint, and then know how to review your digital footprint critically. All right, guys. As per usual, I hope you have a lovely day. And again, please contact your lecturers if you have any questions. Bye.